Hey everyone, it's Stori here, and this is RP Weekly. So just a couple first notes about this episode. The volume might be a little weird because my mic decided to stop working. So until I get a new one, aka I'm unemployed and probably won't be getting one for a while, this is what we gotta work with. Which isn't actually as bad as I think it could be. So, with that positivity note, we move on to the next one, which I want everyone to just take one moment and smile. Think about something really happy and just smile. And if you can't think of anything, well, guess what? Here's a photo of a corgi. They're goddamn adorable, and I love them. Have another one right now. It's been really dark in the world lately, and it's depressing, and it's frustrating and angering, but if we can't take a moment to smile, then what are we here for? So we're going to move on to our notable blogs, because that's what you're here for, right? So we start off with Arpedia. It's a play on words, obviously, and I'm hoping I said it right, but it's a blog that I've actually used a lot before. I just randomly found it again after like a couple years of not seeing it ever. But it is filled with tons of useful information. It's so well researched. They have really honest answers, and it's such a refreshing pace to the RPC where like you get what you are asking for right there in front of you in clear, plain explanations, and that's a beautiful thing. Always feel free to take a look at them. As always, also all the links will be below in the description. So we're going to move on to New Falls RP, and this roleplay is set in New Falls, New England. It has a ton of open characters that are townies, students of both college and boarding school. They also, what I thought was cool is they have both bios, like full bios, but they also have skeleton bios for those who feel like their canon bios don't really fit you. So now we're going to move on to something brand new that I have recently discovered, and I think it's a great idea. It's called RPUnion, and it's not exactly a role play. It's more of like a community, and it's the admins, what they want is to remind RPers why they went into RPing in the first place, and to create a safe and supporting environment for them. So everyone's involved. Essentially, you're basically building a roleplay together because the members vote on plots that they want to do. They're currently taking applications, and they even will have a weekly newsletter. And next we have Port Aransas RP. And this roleplay is actually pretty cool for me because I've been to Port Aransas in Texas. It's a standard town roleplay, except when you apply for a character, you don't choose a face claim. So it's kind of a surprise, so they pick a face claim for you. I am sure that if you have specific triggering face claims, they're more than willing to say, okay, we won't give you that. But I think it's just a great challenge as a role player and a writer. And it's exciting to be able to work with a face claim you haven't used before. And I also like their idea where role-playing has become very face claim centered, and so it's nice to see something that blends both role-playing and also, you know, you could just go write a random story, but it's not the same as if you were interacting with another person. So I really am interested to see how that will turn out. Next up we have Musing RPs, and they recently revamped from just a musing kind of blog to more RPH services. They have a ton of images and resources to get the creativity flowing, really positive energy and dialogue on that blog, and it's like a wonderful, refreshing change. And next we're going to move on to Susie RPT, and they have a great range of resources. I've been following them for quite some time now. They have a really friendly admin. I always enjoy looking at what the resources they post up or reblog or share. It's a great blog to take a look at when you have some free time. And now, RP trends. So for the first one, BANDOM RPs are coming back. It has been quite many years. They were a huge thing when I first started role-playing 4 or 5 years ago. So it's kind of cool to see the cycle of themes for roleplays come full circle. So there's many, I don't even know if I could name them off the top of my head, but I did see quite a few of them while I was browsing. And that moves me on to the next RP trend, which are band face claims. And we could debate back and forth always of should RPs have band face claims or not, blah, blah, blah. What I mean by band face claims is there are certain celebrities or whatever you want to call them who are aware of role-playing and are uncomfortable with people role-playing with them as a face claim. And it is our duty to respect their wishes as human beings. And I don't have a list off the top of my head because there are quite a few. However, if you go onto Tumblr and you search banned face claims, you'll find multiple master lists of face claims, of celebrities who have asked to not be used. A lot of them also provide sources for where they specifically say, I don't want this. So I recently found a couple of them, and I highly recommend looking at them. I know a lot of them are pretty obvious, like if they're a serial killer. Don't use them. I don't know really why you would want to, but take a look at that. So now we're going to move on to the newest section, RP advice. And this week I want to talk about clickiness and exclusion, how to combat it, how to deal with it, really. First off, let's acknowledge the fact that clickiness in an RP is toxic. It could start off small, but it could eventually grow because you're filtering who you interact with, and that doesn't make fun for roleplays. A group roleplay is meant to be a community. It's meant to be a proactive community where you work together building plots and this world that you have inside of your mind. But clickiness blocks it. It's this wall that you've put up. And whether it's because you've dealt with shitty people before and are very cautious about who you roleplay with, which is understandable in itself, or because you just feel like you can't connect with people, which is also understandable, because cliques aren't always made because, or formed intentionally, nor are they formed because you want to exclude all these other people around you. Sometimes it just happens, and that's normal. Humans cling to one another that they find themselves similar as. The problem is when it starts to it starts to clash with the community that you were supposed to be part of. And you can have your friends in a role play. You can have the specific 2 or 3 that you just love to role play with all the time, and that's great. Go for it. However, don't forget the other people that are in this role play with you. A couple tips, I guess. Don't ignore open starters. For admins, maybe you start this shadowing program. I forget where I read it. I know I read it on an RPH blog, but I can't remember which one right now. But they recommend a shadow program, which is where new members are unofficially or officially paired up with old members so they can learn the ropes and get to know people, which I think is a really cool idea. I've always been about that kind of vibe of shadowing or peer-to-peer counseling. Stay away from the negative. And by that I mean, I understand you can have your dislikes, your likes. It kind of plays into the last video when I talked about RP hate and stuff. And also in the beginning of the video, this video, when I said smile. It is, I believe, I was going to say scientifically proven, but it's probably not. But I have heard that smiling makes you feel happy, even if you feel really shitty and you just look at a puppy. I'm bringing the corgi back right now. Smile at the corgi. It's so cute. Stay away from negative. Try and be positive. If you have a problem, don't hold it in. Always talk to someone about it. Whether it's your admin or if it's a friend outside of a roleplay, one who doesn't roleplay at all, whatever it may be, find someone to talk about it. Try and figure out how you can deal with this negative thing that is bothering you and find a solution for it. What else? Keep in mind that most admins do try and combat it. No admin really wants to have a bad rep. Let them know that there's a problem, and if you don't feel comfortable talking to that admin, talk to an RPH and see how they can help you. That's what they're there for. They're there for RP advice. Be aware of your presence. And I think that's one of the most profound things I've said in a while. But what you say or do can affect other people. And sometimes when we're online, we forget that that's a thing, that a person can be affected, regardless of your intention. And unfortunately, technology is not yet up to sharing emotions via it, and I'm kind of glad about it because there could be a robot invasion one day. I'm just saying. So having robots with emotions would be a little weird. Having technology express emotions outside of like emojis would be a little scary. Anyway, I'm getting off track again. So be aware of your presence. Remember outside of yourself. I should really sell bumper stickers or t-shirts or something. I'm gonna maybe look into that tonight. But in the meantime, so first we have Vinny O'Hara, and he is a fashion blogger and designer from Brazil. I recently discovered him and fell in love with him. And secondly, we have Brenda Song, who is one of my personal favorites, has always been on my to use as a face claim list. She is Thai, and I apologize if I say this wrong, but Hmong. I tried to figure out how to pronounce it, but it wasn't very clear in the audio, so I apologize if I do it wrong. But anyway, she's an actress, and she is obviously known from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So that's all I have for you all today. Thank you always for your comments and likes and shares. It really does mean a lot. Stay happy, have another corgi. But wait, don't worry, I did not forget about the goodie bag. There's always a goodie bag for you all, because it's like a goodie bag that I make and then I give to myself also, because I find all these cool things. There is a male POC Faceclaim Master List with gifts. There's also a female version of it. I recently used it. It's really helpful, and I didn't get as stressed out about face claims when I was looking for alternative face claims to use at my own RP. So please take a look for any alternatives, or maybe just switching out some face claims in your bios for fresh faces, because diversity and representation is very important. What else? There's Pride and Prejudice font pack, which I thought was really awesome because it's one of my favorite books. There's also, I have also put in a few playlists that are a little happy. There's a musical motivations playlist, which is obviously musical songs for motivation. There's also an Unafraid of Toil playlist off of 8-Tracks, which is obviously Hufflepuff. And there is a Don't Worry, Be Happy playlist. And feel free to take a look at those. Just zen out for a little bit, take a shower, take a bubble bath. So have a great beginning of week, end of week, whatever time zone you're in. My name is Stori, and I will see you next week on RP Weekly.